Hey everybody, Chris here from SteelSoldiers.com, and we are on location today on a recovery mission for an M756A2 pipeline truck. You can see it sitting behind me there. My dad purchased this truck off Gov Liquidation in 2003, I believe, and had it trucked in from Fort Drum, New York, down here to Charleston, West Virginia, and has driven it some, but it spent a lot of its time just kind of sitting over the last 16 years. It was last driven about 5 or 6 years ago. Dad was going to sell it at the time, and we did a video of it running and a video of it driving around. And so I was checking my YouTube account last night and saw that we posted those videos, I think it was 6 years ago. And so it's been sitting for quite a while. We're going to try to get it fired up today and test drive it, make sure that it runs, drives, and stops. And if it does, we're going to go ahead and drive it back to my house today in Charleston, where we can begin a restoration on it. Let me show you what it looks like, close up and personal, and we'll take a look around and see if we can get this thing going. All right, so here it sits in all its glory. Got my brother Chad here, and my dad over there putting on his boots, getting ready for action. But yeah, here's the truck in all its glory. You can tell it was a New York truck. We've got some rust in the bodywork, unfortunately. Some stuff's in pretty decent shape, but others, obviously, the rocker panels and steps, bedsides, those sorts of things are going to need some work. The good news is that most of that stuff is just, you know, flat steel or steel that you can bend up on a brake and cut out the bad and we'll get it welded up. So it should not be too bad of a project as far as the restoration goes. Mechanically, it was in great shape when Dad bought it. You know, the tires were good and it had been kept in service, so everything was in really good shape. Running and driving, no problem. There's the stiff leg. There's the other stiff leg. Speaking of stiff legs, got to do some work on those. Unfortunately, that's seized in place. And the other side looks about the same. We've got quite a bit of rust on this side, in the bed and in the fenders. So we're going to have to do some more sheet metal work here. We're going to go ahead and pop the hood and start looking around here and find out what kind of shape the truck's in before we do any more work here to try to get her up and running. So we've already run into our first snag of the day. The copper thieves have been here and stole the, I don't know, 18-inch ground lead and about, 18 inches of the hot lead that went to the battery. Probably got them all about 15 cents at the scrap yard, and but it caused us some problems here. We're going to have to do a little creative wiring to get her running. Typical thieves, though. See anything easy like that, they got up there and just cut it off. So Chad's under there inspecting the rest of it, but won't be too bad of a swap. Just a little bit of a setback on time. All right, so Dad's topping off the coolant. Got some 50-50 premix here going in. Making sure we're good there. You just check the oil level. We're good there. Chad's getting ready to go underneath the truck. We found some old battery cables, thankfully laying around, that were actually longer than what the thieves took. So thankfully we're in good shape there. Didn't have to make a 30-minute trip to the parts store. I don't think I mentioned it, but this place is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Unfortunately, there's enough people around here with less than honorable careers, let's say, and they managed to break in and steal everything at every chance they can.
Far up the hall, they got to bring your own Tomcat.
How's it look under there, Chad?
Oh, it's good times, man. Good times.
All right.
Got any more mix?
Yeah, I'll get you another jug of premix here. Chad's down there stripping it. They cut that one off pretty close to the frame, so we didn't have room to make a connection there in the battery box area. He's working on that. I'll grab Dad another jug of coolant mix here. Nice out here. It's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Dad worked for the company that had this shop, or has the shop, for years and years, and so he parked the truck here. And unfortunately, thievery's always been a problem around here. There you go, Dad.
Thank you. I hear it dripping and gurgling someplace. Probably going into the engine.
Well, LD465 looks pretty good.
Going into the engine.
As long as it's not going into the cylinders
Yeah, this thing's been,
or out of the side of the block.
it's been low on coat.
Previous owners of the truck, the U.S. Navy, did some real creative Bondo work here on the rockers. Definitely going to have to strip that off. The old pipeline bed's complete. You'll notice the winch is missing. That is out at my dad's house. He actually got one of those years ago from one of the Steel Soldiers members who bought a truck that ended up getting scrapped. And so we ended up with the winch. We ended up with the gin poles because the poles were missing off of this one. So gradually over the years we've been accumulating parts for it. Finally, just I don't know, a few months ago, we finally got a sheave and a trunnion for it. That was a huge victory because those things are rare as hen's teeth. So we'll get the winch mounted up there, get all the rust fixed, get it sprayed back. Looks like it was originally that semi-gloss OD. Got some new decals made for the doors.
Anything running out the bottom?
Nope,
Nothing dripping on Chad, so that's a good sign.
Yep.
Antifreeze is just going into the radiator. Excellent. Keep up the good work, team.
I heard it going somewhere else. They're probably getting air coming out of the engine.
That's good. All right, so Chad did an excellent job patching in some cables here. Just happened to find some battery cables on an old reefer that was due to be scrapped anyways. So those were liberated and going to do a nice job. Nice work, Chad.
Yeah, man. Couple bolt splices off this scrap pile over here, and we've got the wires back together now. So,
Yeah, boy.
and a little bit of tie wire to keep the battery cable off the muffler, and we're good to go.
Nice. So we got a couple of truck batteries here. Just happen to be in the M37 sitting at the house. Thanks for letting me borrow those, Chad.
Glad to.
So,
Glad to support your military truck habit here.
So we're going to load those up in the battery box here. I just dumped all the Roachy cab metal out of the battery box. We got one of them fancy plastic battery boxes. And definitely not going to use that battery. That came out of the reefer. It's seen better days. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get our batteries fitted up here and see if we can get her to turn over. Obviously it's been sitting for a long time, so we want to take our time with this. Before we fire up anything, we're going to crank it over a little bit, get some oil circulating. What do you think, Dad? So far so good?
So far, so good.
Bet we'll blow some crap out of that tailpipe.
Oh yeah.
Last time we fired this thing up, we had some bees and a dead bat, and that was exciting. The stack was plumb full of junk. And I'll be happy if she blows some smoke. I climbed underneath a minute ago and put some Croil penetrating oil on the air bleeds on the bottom of the air tanks, and knocked the mud dauber nests out of them, and managed to get both of them open. A little bit of condensation came out and actually had a little air in there. I don't know if it's 6-year-old air from where we had it fired up the last time, or just from, you know, heating and cooling of the air tanks and truck and everything generated a little bit of pressure there, but who cares? It blew a little air out and the condensation came with it. So we got them ready to rock, and we're gonna go ahead and put the batteries in, keep the fuel turned off, crank it over a little bit, see if we can get some oil pressure circulating, and get it ready to try to touch this thing off. All right, so we got our batteries hooked up, and found the biggest collection of wasp nests known to man. Thankfully unoccupied, because that would have been a nasty surprise. Pull open the toolbox door and all those nasty suckers roll out of there. So we got batteries hooked up. All the gauge panel and everything looks in pretty good shape. Looks like stuff's been roosting in here and crapping all over everything. That's nice. Well, let's flip the main switch over here and see if we get any buzz or anything else. We got green.
That's what we like.
Green on the batteries. We got low air buzzer. That's fantastic.
That's what we like.
All right, good news. So we got the fuel off. We're going to go ahead and try to turn it over a few times, get some oil circulating. It's not good.
Here we go, guys, first start. Look at that. Can went flying off and everything. Sounds good. Just like an old deuce and a half to it.
Alright, so we've had it idling here a few minutes. The air compressor pumped up. Low air warning went off. We've got the Glad Hand air hose hooked up here. Chad's airing the tires up. Make sure we got plenty of air. The brake pedal feels good. Not spongy or anything. Got a little leak from the top of the primary fuel filter. Not surprising. Hopefully once the gasket softens up a little bit, it'll stop leaking. But I'd rather have a little fuel leaking than antifreeze or oil. Getting it aired up. Safe to say these tires are going to be very flat spotted. Things are sitting here a long time. 6 years is what we think since the food plant. We're going to continue to check the systems here and get everything checked, rechecked, and double checked. Then I just checked the lights. We got stop and turn and tail and headlights. So all that stuff seems to be working. We're going to keep double checking everything, and we can go ahead and drive it around the parking lot here a little bit and exercise it a little. Make sure it'll stop and start. Get it warmed up a little bit. Make sure we don't have any major leaks.
All right, here we go. We're ready to move it and see what happens. Moving. Good old multi-fuel.
Used to roll in the old Dodge Cummins.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same.
Yep. Feels like a deuce and a half going down the road.
Although this would be sweet with 5600 and 59 Cummins.
Well, what do you think, Chris?
And I tell you what, it's great to have it back on the road.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
About 6 years or so since it's been moving even, around the parking lot. And, to have it fire off so quickly and run and drive,
Yeah.
I'm thrilled.
It really surprised me how fast it started. It literally rolled over twice and started with it. Handle slip.
Yeah, it's incredible. Alright, we made it to the truck stop, and one thing we got is a little drip on the fuel filter there, but that's okay. We just put a whole tank of fresh fuel in it, and checked all the hubs, checked all the tires. Everything seems to be doing okay so far. We got about another 10 miles probably to get home, so not too shabby. Once we get it home, we'll start taking assessment on all of the stuff that needs repaired, start ordering parts. Better than love. have to slow down a whole lot. What do you think, Jim? Gotta get that rear winch on there. Yeah, we good to go. Put the gym poles on it, trim.
It's got a good bark to it, and I don't know, kind of mean sounding. Yeah, definitely sounds aggressive. Definitely gets people the heck out of the road, even if they're only going 15 mile an hour. Yeah, getting good oil pressure, charging. Yeah, hard to believe it's charging again. Got air. Farthest these trucks run a long time too. Alright, here we go down into Woodmere. And first gear. We're going to do the first gear down in here just in case. Because as you can see, it is pretty steep on this subdivision road. Nice and easy. And we're just easing it down in here. Let the engine do the work here. I'm sure my neighbors wouldn't want us to run through their house. Yeah, they would probably frown on that, and given the way the deuce snap, I think it really would be for the house. 17,000, 18,000 pounds right through the house. But as you can see, we're creeping through here about 5 miles an hour. 5. a deuce and a half on one here.
All right, we made it. Got it down to the house here. This is the site of our future garage. I'm going to put a big run under shed on the back of it and have a place to park this thing out of the weather. But right now it's a storage yard for statues and pots and fence and bricks and everything else that we had around the house that we've been restoring. But thankfully it does have a nice concrete driveway, so at least it'll be parked out in the mud and down here away from all the copper thieves, so we don't have to worry about that. But the truck did great. We just had a little fuel leak, but that was just around the primary fuel filter. The top of the can there was leaking a little bit, so I think it was just an old dry seal. Really, it had slowed down to a real slow drip by the time we got here. So other than that, no surprises. Unfortunately, the mirrors were busted on both sides. Big shocker there. So Chad had to have his hand out the window pretty much the whole time to hold the mirror together so we can use it to get out of here. And other than that, man, the truck's really in good shape. You know, we got some rust to deal with, obviously, but who cares? I mean, that's just, I like doing metal work, so that's going to be a good project. But it's a neat truck. It's a pretty rare truck. So I'm looking forward to saving it and restoring it, and then using it with my family, get my kids out and get them to help work on it, be able to take it to events and do fun stuff with it. So looking forward to getting it whipped back into shape. All right, so there you go. Successful deuce and a half recovery. Couldn't have done it without my dad and my brother. Really appreciate them pitching in today and giving a hand. The old truck did great. We took it up some real steep grades on the way here, and the old LD 465 was just ripping. That naturally aspirated engine, man, it barks, and especially when you're going up a pretty good grade. So it sounded fantastic going up, and the sound bouncing off the rock cliffs and everything else. It was a lot of fun to drive it back to the house today. So it got a good workout and did great. Didn't miss a beat. All the tires stayed up. None of the axles or brakes or anything got hot. So overall, really happy with the recovery, given the fact that it sat for 6 years, and this was the most it's been driven since it was put on the truck in 2003 and hauled down here. So it was great to get it back on the road. Can't thank my dad and brother enough for giving a hand today. I'm going to make some more videos like this detailing the restoration of this truck. Looking forward to sharing that with you guys. So keep tuning back in for regular updates. I'll be sure to keep the videos coming. See you guys again real soon. Take care.